Well, hello to my American Horror Story historians. Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time, welcome here. This is going to be a great video for you to join in on. I am so excited to be continuing my look at American Horror Story in a year with very little American Horror Story. It's quite shocking, though I am using this season's Grotesquerie, the new fall Ryan Murphy FX show, as my season of American Horror Story. So if you're interested in reviews of that, make sure you guys subscribe to this channel, because I will be diving into that show. But today, we are looking at American Horror Story and a fun video. So I recently looked at my favorite and least favorite characters, but what about the best performances? I want to look at each season of American Horror Story and figure out what was my favorite performance from each one. There's going to be some shocking picks, some not so shocking picks. I cannot wait to get into this, so let's get into the video right now. Oh, and a side note though, real quick, to keep this video a bit interesting, I'm only going to be doing one actor per season and only one role per actor. I could easily fill up slots with Jessica Lange, Sarah Paulson, Evan Peters, but I want to give everyone a fair chance and give myself a bit of a challenge. So let's jump into the video right now with our first pick, and we are looking at Taissa Farmiga from Murder House. This is a role that took me quite some time to get into. I first watched American Horror Story and was so anti-Violet Harmon. I thought Violet was one of the worst characters we've ever seen. But yeah, maybe I don't really love the character. It's not my kind of cup of tea, but I love the performance. Now going back, especially when I was looking at my most shocking moments and seeing that reveal where she found out about Tate and then later on found out about her own death, I was so amazed by that and so intrigued by her performance. So getting into that season more, I love the evolution. It's a little Winona Ryder in Beetlejuice. It's very goth girl trying to figure out her way with her kind of overstuffy family, and then you add in the ghost elements, you add in all this, and I actually love this performance. This is a earnest teen girl performance that feels real. Yes, I don't like the Romeo and Juliet aspect to Tate and Violet, but it fits, you know what I mean? And it works well, and it's acted really well. I think this character got such a good evolution through the season of, you know, just the kind of angsty girl moving into a new house with her family who's always a mess, to, you know, finding out about her love interest, to finding out about her own death, to being able to be a strong person to help end the ghost madness. It was all really fun and really well acted, and I think one of the most overlooked and underrated performances of this entire show. While Taissa might be a controversial pick, my next one won't be as shocking to people. I am talking about my favorite performance from Asylum. We are looking at Lily Rabe as Sister Mary Eunice.
All I wanted in the whole world was for people to like me.
Okay, everyone.
It's almost sad that we never see Lily Rabe get such a strong performance like this again in American Horror Story. I love, like, Misty Day. She's fine, but something about this role, it's just so deliciously evil. I mean, this is a very heavy, hard-hitting season, but there's just a levity to her evilness that it's just so fun to watch, especially when much hard-hitting stuff is happening outside of her possession. But wow, the possession. This is one of my favorite possessed acting performances I've ever seen. It's believable, it's real, it's layered, it's so good to watch. I honestly feel like, look, I've been hard on Asylum before, but I feel like the season would not be as good without this role, and I see that perfectly played out. By the time Sister Mary is killed off the season, it feels like there's a gap missing, there's a hole missing. You need this character, she just gives you everything. Lily Rabe is one of my favorite AHS talents, and I'm so glad she's come back for multiple seasons. I just wish we would have had a performance as good as this, as memorable as this. The delivery, the evilness, again, that Nor'easter episode, it's just so burned in my head. So many great moments, so many iconic lines. It's just one of those performances that reminds you why American Horror Story is as good as it is. Picking only one performance from this next actor was so difficult, so insanely impossible to do, but somehow this is the one I landed on, and I think it's a good one. We are talking about my favorite, and I think the best performance from Coven. Let's talk about Jessica Lange as Fiona Goode.
This Coven doesn't need a new Supreme. It needs a new rug.
Fiona Goode is one of the most complicated characters I think American Horror Story has ever seen. She is evil, she's mean, she's cruel, but you love to watch her. You love seeing her brought to life by Jessica Lange's amazing role. And I think this role is the most tailored to her strengths. She gets the heart, she gets the soul, she gets the sass, the, the bit of a bitchy attitude that we all kind of love. All of that's there, and it's so played well and excellently, and it's believable. Fiona Goode, as witchy and, otherworldly as she can be, this character. This kind of Southern dame who is just no nonsense. I will spit in a drink and make you drink it, and I'm gonna erase your brain. I'm gonna fry it up. Like that whole scene, those little moments, like just her flicking her fingers and just throwing the girls around down to her death in the near the end of the season. It's just so crazy, and I think Jessica Lange plays it so well. I just love watching her, and I think a key to a good American Horror Story performance is how she works with the whole cast. I love her scenes with Queenie. I love her scenes with with Angela Bassett. I just think there's so many good scenes throughout, and she plays it so well. It makes you again believe this character. I am one of those people who are a bit harder on Freak Show than most. It's not my favorite season, but picking out the best performance from this season, it actually was harder because I almost went with John Carroll Lynch's Twisty, but we are going to go with Finn Wittrock as Dandy Mott.
I'm going to marry those girls, Mother. We're going to be together.
In any other hands, Dandy could be one of the most insufferable, hard-to-watch characters, and at times I think that's more of the writing. I don't really love the arc that Dandy goes through, but my goodness, what an amazing performance. Finn Wittrock was an actor I had no idea about until this season, until this role, and from there, I've loved him so much, and I just think he is one of those talents that I often want to see in roles, not just in American Horror Story, but throughout film and TV, and I think he is so good in this role, and I love that he's never had to play this petulant child again. He's never had to go back to kind of going to the Dandy role often, which makes this even more special. I also think Dandy has some of the craziest scenes out of everything. That final where he is just going through, just kind of wiping out the Freak Show. It's hard, it's tough, it's disgusting, and I love that. The child petulant stuff, the stuff with his mother, it's not really my favorite kind of character arc and character tropes, but I cannot deny out of all of the performances this season, I think this is one of the best. John Carroll Lynch could have went here. I think Sarah Paulson is pretty great in her role as well, and Jessica Lange's good as Elsa Mars, not really my favorite of her roles, but I think everyone who watches Freak Show knows that this is it. Like, it is all about Dandy, and when Dandy's not on screen, you're struggling with villains. When you're going through, the hard-hitting moments with Dandy, you're sucked in. This is a character that's integral to everything happening, and very important, and honestly fun to watch be a madman. Coming in at the 5th spot on my list is Lady Gaga in Hotel as the Countess.
You dress like a man, walk like a man, but you smell like a woman.
Did I struggle to not put Liz Taylor here? But my goodness, I've talked about Liz Taylor so much on this channel. Dennis O'Hare's performance is iconic and memorable and noteworthy. But do you know who has an award for this season? Miss Lady Gaga as the Countess. My goodness, the Countess is one of my favorite roles, and not just because it's Lady Gaga and she's delivering just fashion and drama and horror, but I love the sad moments. I love the calmer moments. I love the moments of love and passion that she has for her lovers, and then seeing how her evil ways has ruined things. I love that scene where she doesn't want to eat one of the babies, and she's like, these are my kids, but you need to survive. I love the layers to the Countess. It could have easily been Lady Gaga wearing fabulous outfits and just lounging around the hotel. And that's there. I'm not denying that the Lady Gaga isn't lounging in beautiful gowns, but it's not just great gowns, beautiful gowns. It's also a layered performance, a troubling performance, because my goodness, I did not think Lady Gaga could get this disgusting. I was a fan, I've been a fan forever, but I've seen The Fame Monster. I knew Born This Way was a weird album. I saw her get vomited on during the art pop era. But this was a different role, a different vibe, and I think Lady Gaga has done well in her acting before. I love A Star Is Born. I can't wait to see Joker, but I think The Countess has been an acting performance so tailor-made for Gaga, so built for her to do well. Much like I think, Fiona Goode is a perfect character for Jessica Lange. I think the Countess is a perfect character for Lady Gaga, and she acts it with an inch of her life. Also, if she never acted in this, I would never get the iconic moment where she bumps Leonardo DiCaprio to go accept that award at the Golden Globes. Like, these are iconic pop culture moments that I need in my life, and Lady Gaga delivered it. She delivered great lines, iconic outfits, memorable scenes. This is a kind of performance that lives with me for a long time. Again, Liz Taylor, Sally as well is another great choice here. There's so many good performances. I think in Hotel, I did a whole video saying that this is an underrated season, but overall, I think the Countess is my absolute favorite role from Gaga and in Hotel, bar none. What better way to celebrate this great actress's retirement than talking about one of my favorite roles? We are going to be looking at Roanoke, and we're going to be looking at Kathy Bates as Agnes the Butcher, all the craziness that she did in this season.
I liked her. She always made sure I had a cooling tent when it was hot.
Growing up, Kathy Bates has always been one of those actresses that I've just fallen in love with. Misery was an early movie for me. I loved seeing her in, The Waterboy. I just love Kathy Bates, and I think her work on American Horror Story is great. Delphine in Coven, oh my goodness, amazing. Her work in Apocalypse as the robot, I loved her robot role. But wow, this role in Roanoke is so layered. Seeing her play in the kind of the series, the Butcher character, and falling into that and feeling so real, and then seeing the actress fall into the role and it felt so real. And there's that scene where she's on Hollywood Boulevard hacking at people. It's just so intense and so well acted from Kathy Bates. I think she could have made this role cheesy, over the top, loud, and boisterous. Kathy Bates does all of those kind of quirks very well, but I think the layers to the second half of the season where she gets to show the human that's lost in the role, that's so desperate to hold on to this, it's a beautiful performance. And I think Roanoke struggles for performance. Sarah Paulson and Lily Rabe are not giving my favorite stuff ever. What the hell is Lady Gaga doing here? Cuba Gooding Jr.? I'm not talking about you. Evan Peters as gay ghost guy? You know what I mean? There's nothing really great to sink your teeth into acting-wise in Roanoke. I do think Adina Porter is probably the other choice that I could have went here. Lee does have a great story, a great arc, but I think Adina gets stuck with a lot of not great material, where something about Kathy Bates' role here has stuck with me and I think speaks to what I like about acting, and what I think is the true essence of Roanoke is what I think is in Kathy Bates' performance and in her role here. In one of the most shocking and controversial seasons, I have a pretty not controversial pick. We are going to be looking at Cult, and of course, we are talking about Evan Peters as Kai Anderson.
It's so easy until it's you they're coming for.
The doubleheader of Kai Anderson and playing Dahmer might be the reason Evan Peters never goes back to hard-hitting genres again, because my goodness, he is so good at playing disgusting. He is so good at playing a person I hate. I like Evan Peters. I find him adorable in almost every role. His stuff in the X-Men movies, lived on forever in my brain. I love Quicksilver. But my goodness, Kai is a character I often want to forget. This is so disgusting, so depraved, so real. Especially now that I feel like the right-wing, the talking point person, the right-wing pundits are even more popular, popping up all the time. Matt Walsh and Andrew Tate, all these kind of dudes that I don't really pay attention to and don't really know much about, they're popping up and they all feel like this character. It may have felt like when we watched this right after the election that this was such a parody of the Trump supporters. But my goodness, they've only gotten to be what this character was. And I think Evan Peters played it real. I think he saw the future, to be honest. He played it so at an 11 in this season. He's so, evil mustache twirling villain at times. But that's what these people feel like they are, and that's what he does so well to capture. I love this role. I struggle with this season, and Allie's an interesting character from Sarah Paulson. It's it's interesting. I've lessened and I've cooled down on my cult hate as much as it was back in the day. But my goodness, you can't hate this season when there is a role like this from Evan Peters. I could have put Evan Peters here for Tate as well. I love him in Murder House. But something about this role just really defined what I think Evan Peters is great at. And he also got to play multiple roles this season. I could have given this to his brief time as Andy Warhol. There's so much here that I like that Evan Peters does. But Kai Anderson seems like a accumulation of everything he was building towards, the angsty psycho, the hot teen boy, the I'm going to sleep with everybody, because, man, he does really sleep with everybody in the season. I loved all that, and I think Kai is a character that lives on forever. We've had, 8 seasons now, and I haven't brought up Sarah Paulson. The time is now. We're going to be talking about, I think, one of her most underrated performances in all of American Horror Story, and my favorite from Apocalypse. We are talking about Sarah Paulson as Cordelia Goode.
With a flick of my finger, I could crush your larynx and tear it from your throat. Do not for 1 second think I am weak.
Look, I could have easily given this to Cody Fern as Michael Langdon. I've talked about that performance and how much I love him in Apocalypse, but I did not love Cordelia in Coven. It was a character that I took some time to warm up to, but then by the time the season ended, I was like, oh, I like her. And then I got to see her even more in Apocalypse. And my goodness, like, Sarah Paulson as Venable was fun. I got a little taste of what she can do here. It's a different kind of acting for her. But once Cordelia enters this season, she becomes the star. Everything is about her. It's interesting watching her find that new Supreme, try to deal with the Antichrist, try to deal with the loss of her mother, gaining back her friends, trying to fix the apocalypse. Like, it is truly a hard-hitting and amazing season, an amazing performance. I know people don't like Apocalypse, and I don't understand why. I'm going to do a video one day breaking down why I think Apocalypse is like the Avengers Endgame of this whole damn show. So good, so iconic. But this role, like Cordelia being this important, there's just a small scene where she's just talking about what to do, and it was just such a small bit of acting here, and I love it. I think that one moment where she's facing off with Michael Langdon, I love that as well. I just love what Sarah Paulson has to do in this season, and she really makes Apocalypse that much better for me. Well, after Apocalypse, it gets a little harder to rank these performances because I don't think the seasons are as good, but with 1984, Emma Roberts has to be on this list, so let's talk about Brooke.
What took you so long?
My girl Brooke went through it this season, from the wedding incident to going to the camp to, getting locked up to everything that she went through. My girl went through it, and I think Emma Roberts plays this role one of her most interesting. I absolutely hate what they did with her in Delicate, making her this very passive, kind of meek character, but then she plays like the Madison Montgomery, the Chanel character way too often. Brooke is somewhere in the middle with these roles. I think Brooke she's like a mean girl like Emma Roberts likes to be, but she's the final girl in a horror show. So she's this layered performance that I think Brooke is... Montana is a great character. Like, I almost wanted to put Billy Lord's Montana here, and then I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, ooh, but I really like Brooke's story, and I think, like, her stuff with Angelica Ross, even though it seems like they did not have a good time on set together, and it's very unfortunate because Emma Roberts may not be the nicest human being ever, but it's like, oh my god, you're so good, and your work with her is so strong, and her arc this season, it blows my mind. But now thinking about it, Montana, she's a character I spotlighted in my one video, so that's kind of why I moved away from her here, but she's great. Billy Lord's one of my favorite actors in this show as well. She does great here, but Brooke's character, I think Emma Roberts getting to play something different for Emma Roberts, but still not straying too far from her strengths. That's a key for all of these roles, is roles that feel that they're suited to their actor's strengths. This is testing Emma Roberts a bit, but she's doing it very well, and I think makes Brooke a character that makes the season worthwhile. Look, we're at Red Tide and Death Valley, the double feature seasons. What can we talk about? What's here? There's not much to talk about, but hey, Macaulay Culkin did really good as Mickey.
But, you do have to glove up unless you're down for some frottage.
Yes, Macaulay Culkin finally joins American Horror Story, a fit that I think works well, and I'm sad that he has not been back yet, but my goodness, I love his role as Mickey here. I think this is a character that I had never seen depicted on screen before. He's so gentle and so lost and so hurt and sad, and I think Macaulay Culkin brings that out of him very well. There's this humor to this actor as well. I think, we know him from Home Alone and, not Dennis the Menace, Richie Rich. I know Macaulay Culkin, Party Monster, my goodness, I love this guy, and I think he's great, but this role, this dark, sad, almost pathetic role, it's just so hard-hitting, and it makes Red Tide that much better. There's some good performances in Red Tide. Finn Wittrock's good, Sarah Paulson's okay in this season as tuberculosis, whatever her name was. Oh my goodness, yeah. So yeah, this season, both of them, and then I can't name one good person in Death Valley. Mamie Eisenhower, girl, really? No one's good here. But I really do think that Macaulay Culkin does something well here, and it does something different and hard-hitting and engaging, and makes me love this character even more than I thought I would have, and I think no one could have played this role as good as Macaulay did. We are at NYC, almost done with this video. My goodness, I've been talking about American Horror Story for like almost 30 minutes now just recording this, but let's go to NYC and talk about Joe Mantello and why I think Gino is one of my favorite roles ever.
Scene here, and as far as I can tell, nobody's done anything about it, so I figure that people need to know just how little you care.
Joe Mantello has been an actor that's joined the Ryan Murphy universe, not just with American Horror Story, but with other shows for a little bit now. But my goodness, his role here as Gino, this man trying to investigate this murders, trying to uncrack like the early AIDS crisis, it's hard hitting. That montage, which I hate the end of the season, but that montage of him looking at the loss and what's happening around him, it's so sad. This season would not be as good without Joe's performance. It's lost. This season is a mess of a lot of ideas, a lot of tones. It's good. I like, you know, New York for what it is and what it has to say and what it has to do, especially for depicting a time that is not easy, especially for a gay man. That's not easy to talk about. And Joe's performance is so good. Gino is one of those characters that I wish could have met, you know, Lana Winters, you know, where I'm like, oh, you guys journalists that are good at your job, that are badasses, that really mean to do something good. I like this character. I think this is an important role. I think this is exactly what I wanted from NYC. If we were going to do something serious as look at the AIDS crisis, but put it through a horror lens, we needed a journalist role like Gino. We needed someone important like this. His work with Russell Tovey is good. His work with the Mai Tai Killer is good. Overall, I think, you know, Joe does very well with making this season and this character believable. Even when, you know, the big daddy high fantasy of that character is going on, you still believe it because Gino believes it, and I love what they're trying to do here. It's a good season, it's a good performance, it's just not one I often want to go back to. In my last and probably most controversial pick, but truly, girl, what do I got to pick from? Let's talk about Kim Kardashian as Siobhan in Delicate.
How many were collectively given for you to even be considered? I mean, Derek's jaw may never recover.
When Kim K got casted to American Horror Story, people thought it was the end of the world. I can't believe they did this. I'm like, girl, we casted Adam Levine in something in the season y'all love, Asylum, and he's god-awful in that. What are we talking about? What are we doing here? What's going on? But my goodness, Kim Kardashian blew me away here. I know she's not stretching herself. She's playing like a Hollywood person dealing with Hollywood people. I get it, but she's witchy. She's fun. I like her in that final episode. I wish there was more to that final episode, but she's good there. I think she has great lines, iconic moments. I hate what they did with Emma Roberts this season. What's Billy Lord's role here? What's Leslie Grossman doing here? What's anyone doing here? Am I going to give it to Michaela J. Rodriguez for the bob? Like that little bob she was wearing? What am I doing? So if I'm going to have to pick one, Siobhan is the character I love. I believe her. I love the lines that Kim K oozes out of her mouth. Just so with contempt and this shallow Hollywood vibe. And again, Kim K is not the best actress. I'm not saying that this is a groundbreaking, award-winning role, but I love what she did here. I thought it was believable, I thought it was fun, and I thought she made Delicate what it was. Emma Roberts gave me absolutely nothing this season, where Kim K had to carry the weight and say, well, the gays have to like something, and I guess it's going to be me in this season. And as a gay, yeah, you were the only reason to watch Delicate. Alright everyone, that is it for my breakdown of my favorite performances from each American Horror Story season. What is your favorite performance? Let me know down below. Who is the best actor in American Horror Story history? I want to know your thoughts there. Share all them all. Subscribe, thumbs up. Make sure you guys are subscribed because I will be talking about Grotesquerie in a couple weeks. Cannot wait to get into that show. It's going to be very, very good. Very, very juicy. Cannot wait. So let's talk about that. Subscribe so you're ready for those. And let's talk about the best from American Horror Story right down here.